Okay, so let's quick talk through how we would revise a course's student learning outcomes to more closely mirror our new institutional learning outcomes. So first things first, I have eLumen open on the left tab, and I have our CSLO language document open on the right tab. So the CSLO language document just gives me a kind of a starting point. So the first thing I want to do is probably look at my existing course SLOs. So I'm going to do this for Math 12. So I'm signed in as faculty. If you see something else here like discipline or whatever, get it to faculty. That's probably the easiest place to be. Then you want to look in your department that you're interested in. So I'm in the mathematics department here. I want to hit SLOs and assessments. And then I want to find the course that I'm looking for. So I'm looking at Math 12 here, which has these two course SLOs. So here's the problem that I'm currently experiencing. The two course SLOs are things that are roughly mirrored in my course objectives, and so I feel like I'm collecting data twice. So what I want to do instead is collect data about the institution, right? So I want to see whether I'm feeding the institution and maybe my program appropriately. So Math 12 is actually mostly an institutional course, so I really am only interested in the ISLOs. You might also be interested in kind of targeting your PSLOs too, so that would maybe take a minute more thought, but let me assume that we're just targeting ISLOs. So my issue is that these two things really both kind of map into the calculation and critical thinking areas of the new ISLOs. So I'd really like to separate them a little bit. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take and find the unit count for Math 12. So Math 12 is a 3-unit class, which means I need to target 3 of the institutional learning outcomes. So I'm going to pick any 3 of these, but I have to pick 3. If your course is 0 units, you probably pick 1. So let's see. I am thinking that I probably am, and I made a copy of this so I can fiddle with it. I'm thinking that I'm probably not going to target culture and community in finite math. That happens. I think I probably could target knowledge. I could probably target calculation. I could probably reasonably target critical thinking. I might be able to target communication. I think I'm probably not targeting career with this class. So I'm going to delete that one. So now I am kind of down to 4. I really should pick 3 of these in the end. So in order to pick, I'm kind of thinking, well, I want to insert my course-specific language and kind of see how this works. So I think calculate precisely and interpret results accurately. If I was going to insert specific course language, I'm just going to kind of noodle with the example here. So let's see. I might think to myself, okay, if we're going to calculate precisely and interpret results accurately, those are going to be things about my class, finite math. So I'm going to say, let's see. So calculating precisely, I'm going to say solving problems in mathematical finance or linear programming. Now, I'm not entirely sure that I'm happy with this, but it's just a draft. If I look at my original SLOs, I see that I mentioned linear programming and I also mentioned mathematical finance. Okay. This feels like it might be an appropriate kind of amalgamation of my 2 previous SLOs. Okay, let me fiddle with critical thinking, because I think that one I can get to something reasonable. All right, so let's see. So we need to think critically, and I might say something like, we're going to think critically, we're going to select the appropriate technique to solve word problems of the types discussed in finite math. Oops, double period. Solve word problems of the type discussed in finite math. So, am I completely sure that I'm happy with this language? I don't know yet. Maybe. It feels okay. Probably run this by some other people in my discipline. Let's see. So, demonstrate a knowledge. I'm trying to decide between knowledge and communication. And honestly, I just haven't made this decision yet. Like, this is actually me deciding. I'm not I'm not play acting this. I'm just really not sure. So I'm going to pause this while I think for a second. Okay, so I'm sure you can see by the timestamp that it took me a couple of minutes, but I think I came up with a couple that I'm okay with. So for my knowledge SLO, I have demonstrated knowledge of mathematical finance models, linear programming techniques, and probability. For my calculation one, I have calculate precisely and interpret results accurately, solving problems in mathematical finance or linear programming. And for think critically, I have think critically, select the appropriate technique to solve word problems of the types discussed in finite math. To be honest, I'm not real happy with this of the types discussed in finite math. I probably need to clear that with the other discipline faculty before I use such a kind of silly word or silly phrase. And then I'm actually pretty happy with communicate effectively, interpreting the results and techniques of problem solving, and discuss the limitations of mathematical models utilized. So, for me, I think my three that I'm going to pick, the three winners of this process, are calculation, critical thinking, and communication. I'm not having a knowledge one. I think that is my weakest area. It was the hardest the communication one was fairly harder, right? But I think I did a better job of that than I did with communication. I also think that my students tend to take more communication techniques than they do knowledge-based. At least knowledge-based that's not directly applicable to either critical thinking or calculation. So, this is just the process that I'm going through. Your process doesn't have to look exactly like this, but the important things are that the number of CSLOs you pick should match the unit count of your course, and then they should start with these kind of prompts. They don't have to start with the prompts, but it should be clear which area they're going towards. So I would encourage you to start with the prompts just because it makes your life easier. So my new Math 12 SLOs are these, or at least I'm going to ask the math faculty if these are reasonable. If they have revisions, then you won't see these ones exactly. But I think they'll be more or less like this. Some courses are going to be harder than others, like picking five of these is going to be a little tough, but you can do it. If you spend 5 units worth of time with your students, you probably spend some time hitting 5 of these things. If you spend 1 unit worth of time with your students, you probably don't spend enough time to hit all 5 of these things very hard. So just pick the one you hit the hardest. I hope this makes things easier rather than harder. If you have concerns, feel free to reach out. If you need help massaging languages, me and the wizards are available for that. Thanks. Au revoir. Best of luck.